our topic is all about the module 2, which is the integrating active learning approaches in language learning. So when we talk about language learning, the language learning is the encompasses the development of the motor skills. When we say motor skills, it's the reading, writing, listening, and speaking and viewing. Now, the concern of the language teacher is how to teach these skills, as these skills complement each other when used by people in communicating. So, is it possible to target more than two or three in the backer skills in one learning? So, guys, is it possible? The answer is yes. However, this largely depends on the approaches used by the language teachers in facilitating the development of learning competences. But one way to achieve this is used by the active learning approaches. Now, what is active learning approaches? Active learning approaches is characterized by learner engagement and activities that are making meaning to an existing knowledge while developing other 21st century skills. So when we say active learning approaches, this is the collaborating, the media literacy, and lastly, the critical thinking. Now, we have these four active learning that enhances the teaching learning process. The inquiry-based learning, the first, and the second is research-based learning. Third is problem-based learning, and fourth is project-based learning. These four active learning approaches is give the give to design, give more deep and learning of the content of the K to 12 curriculum. So in the next report, we will discuss the inquiry-based learning and
Now
so
let's
on.
proceed to our topic, which is inquiry-based learning. So what do you mean by inquiry-based learning? It is a learning process that engages students by making real-world connections through explorations and high-level questioning. It is an approach to learning that encourages students to engage in problem solving and experiential learning. This type of learnings helps students to develop their critical thinking, their problem solving, and their research skills because students are encouraged to ask questions, conduct research, and explore new ideas. Next, inquiry-based learning. It is an educational strategy in which students follow methods and practices similar to those of professional scientists in order to construct knowledge. So this is a type of learning that, for example, in science experiments, students follows a method how to conduct that experiment so that they will achieve what they want about the experiment that they want to conduct. So now let's move on to the 5 E's of inquiry-based learning. So first E is engage. Students are engaged with a challenging situation, prior knowledge is activated, questions are provoked. So mentally engage students with the questions or activity, just like picture observations, video clips, demonstrations, kinesthetic activities, and free writes. Next E is the explore. Students investigate the phenomenon, prior knowledge is challenged, ideas are created. So students are carry out hands-on activities to make sense of a concept. Just like example, to ask test table questions, conduct research and form a hypothesis, test the hypothesis and gather data, analyze and interpret the data, and draw a conclusion and communicate results. Third E is the explain. Students explain the phenomenon new knowledge is gained and applied. So teacher explains concepts and skills introduced to explore phase. So just like vocabulary instruction, interactive presentation, textbooks, leveled readers, and articles. So teacher explains that and the students will gain knowledge and apply it to themselves. Fourth E is the elaborate. Students apply their knowledge towards new situations. Knowledge is dependent and extended. So, students conduct additional activities to apply learning to new situations. For examples, debate, passion-based learning, lab experiments, science today, and careers. So fifth E is the evaluate. So students reflect on their knowledge and the learning process assessment. Students review and reflect on their learning. In self-assessment, performance-based assessment, portfolio of student work, and claim evidence and reasoning. So that was the 5 E's of inquiry-based learning. For the next topic, I will give you to Miss Villarreal for the nature of inquiry-based learning.
Nature inquiry-based learning, in its simplest definition, is a process of asking questions. This has spurred the innumerable developments that we continue to enjoy in our society today. It continues to usher the study of so many fields that enable various scientists and experts to provide solutions to emerging issues affecting the society in general. So, nature inquiry-based learning is an educational approach that emphasizes exploring and learning from the natural world. It involves actively engaging students in hands-on, experiential learning experiences that are based on their own curiosity and questioning. So, the goal of nature inquiry-based learning is to help students develop a deep understanding and appreciation of the natural world, and to foster a sense of responsibility and stewardship for the environment. This type of learning can take many forms, from outdoor exploration and observation to scientific investigation and experimentation. So, inquiry-based learning, or IBL, as an approach essentially involves tasks requiring learners' active participation in finding answers to curricular questions. The questions can run from very specific, simple questions to more complex questions in relation to the curriculum. Learners are given opportunities to engage in self-regulated activities as they pursue their investigation. Using this is the language classroom can facilitate the development of communication skills, as it involves activities such as writing questions, deliberating on ways of finding answers to curricular questions, and presenting output as evidence of inquiring, among others. This approach encourages students to work together in accomplishing their tasks. So, overall, nature inquiry-based learning is a powerful and effective approach to education that can help students develop a deep understanding and appreciation of the natural world by fostering a sense of curiosity, inquiry, and responsibility. This type of learning can help to prepare students to be thoughtful and engaged citizens who are committed to preserving and protecting the environment.
When to use. Chisholm and Godley 2011 purport that inquiry-based instruction, or IBI, offers an special appropriate approach to learning about language, variation, identity, and power, since IBI can provide students with opportunities to learn about current issues in sociology on a personal experience with language from multiple perspectives. There are four types of inquiry. First is the structured inquiry. This lets the student follow the leads of teachers as the entire class engage in one inquiry together. It means that the whole class engage in inquiry together with the teachers in control of the inquiry process. The learners all demonstrating their understanding in a similar way. Beginning with this type of inquiry helps learners to become familiar with the process of inquiry. Second is controlled inquiry. The teacher chooses topics and identifies the resources that the students will use to answer the questions. It means that they are designing a learning experience for their students. The third type of inquiry is guided inquiry. The teacher chooses topics or questions and the student design the product or solution. It means that the teacher is giving the student more autonomy and responsibility in the learning process. The teacher is setting the parameters of the project by choosing the topics or question, but the students are given the freedom to design and create their own solution or product based on their own research and understanding. The last type of inquiry is free inquiry. Students are allowed to choose their own topics without any reference to prescribed outcomes. It means that there are a high degree of authority in their learning process. The teacher is not directing or controlling the content or outcomes of the project, but rather is allowing the student to choose topics that they are interested in and motivated to learn about.
Our next topic is all about the role of teacher. We all know that a teacher is responsible for preparing lesson plans and educating students at all levels. Their duties including assigning homework, grading tests, and documenting progress. Teachers must be able to instruct in a variety of subjects and reach students with engaging lesson plans. The teacher's role is described beyond teaching. They are more than an educator and are counselors, mentors, role models, external parents, and so on to the students. There are many significant ways that provide a better understanding of a lesson to help students in a better future. Once a child is admitted to school, the role of a teacher shapes the life the child begins. Teachers play a crucial role in our life to succeed in a career, job, business, and in short, making a successful human being. In the topic about inquiry-based learning and research-based learning, the success of the inquiry-based learning largely depends on the careful planning of the teacher in relation to the curriculum. As what I have said, teacher plays a crucial role because they are the one who teach and gives information to students. The language teacher needs to look into the learning competencies that can be satisfied by a simple inquiry or more complex inquiry. The teacher also will be the one who controls and prepares the topic for investigation and guide the learners by setting the questions to be explored. Learners are allowed to design their own way of investigation and present their outputs using technology tools that are afforded to them. By using technology, we can find many sources that can help us to find the answers that we need in our investigation. When technology is coupled by inquiry-based learning, a gateway to information is opened and students can have access to information at any time and anywhere. It is assumed that the teacher is knowledgeable of the sources of information and whether the learners have access to these sources. The teacher also are knowledgeable enough to know if the answers are in the right source or the students are just copying and relying the whole information inside their sources without enhancing it. So when designing an inquiry-based learning, the teacher has to consider the following field proposed by Absik and Kuzenzik 2016. First is prior knowledge and capacity. The second one is context. Learners require meaning from experience. The third one is content and learning materials. Fourth is process. Fifth is strategy of reaction and behavior. And the last is course outcomes. And that is all about role of teachers.
Our next topic is all about the role of technology. But first, what is technology? Technology means the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes, especially in industry. It has infiltrated every aspect of our lives, changing how we work or how we learn. One of the most popular and powerful communication technology many people consider is the Internet. The Internet, or the World Wide Web, offers lots of platforms for mining information. It has become the most sought-out source of information because of the variety of tools that abound. It is a place where ideas from all around the world are embedded on one single platform. Not only does it connect people to socially interact, it is the place where teachers and students interact with each other through their output on all subjects and get learn from each other. Nowadays, our life becomes accustomed to the advantage of the Internet, and the use of it highly influences especially students and teachers of the 21st century. Language is no longer a barrier in one's search for information. It is because in the Internet, you can choose any language you want. It will ensure that your website is accessible and usable regardless of language differences. Depending on the unit of study in a language curriculum, there are many free educational websites that are available for the language teachers and learners. Due to vastness of sources of information from the World Wide Web, any language teacher who is using IDL has the responsibility to direct learners to websites that provide the proper information. The technology tools that are made available for the learners, whether online or offline, should support the object of inquiry, which is aligned to the learning competencies in the K-12 language curriculum. We learners came from online classes and learn through the help of different educational websites that are available in the Internet. Teachers direct and help learners, especially college students, to websites or search engines like Google and Google Scholar, which is a big help to those who have research studies. Students can also learn from YouTube if they want an audio-visual presentation. Teachers and students use like Google Classroom for online learners. It should be noted that the use of technology in IDL is just one of the many other sources of information in the process of inquiry. Because there are other sources of information, not only the Internet, but other sources like human and non-human resources. However, learners are undeniably familiar and probably more adept in exploring the Internet. Guiding them, locating online resources that are relevant in developing their research and communication skills will let them learn the importance of using educational resources in an explicit and implicit way. We all know that technology advances everything, especially in education. We communicate, we learn, and live in comfort. It enhances self-esteem and excitement about learning, brings students together through discussion and collaborative tool. It helps students get the opportunity to study significant materials from any educational sites. So we should always put in our mind that as a student, we will use internet or technology for educational resources because we can gather information which is useful for developing our studies, research, and communication skills. To get benefited from the internet, the students should always have the proper browsing of it. That's all about the role of technology.